Hello and welcome to my What the F podcast. I'm Tina, your IVF mindset and fertility coach and mum of a miracle boy after 4 years of IVF treatment. If you're in the IVF trenches or going through the loneliness, soul-destroying and tears of infertility, then you're in the right place. You are not alone in this. I'm here to help you be kinder to yourself, even in the toughest moments when you feel so frustrated and overwhelmed and feel like giving up. Together, we will help you to find happiness and peace during one of the toughest chapters of your life. And if there is just one thing that you take away from this podcast and work on, then my heart is already full. Hey, beautiful souls, and welcome back to What the F from Infertility Exhaustion to Peace. I'm Tina, and today I want to talk about something most women feel on this journey, but honestly, we rarely admit it out loud and talk about it. Anger. Real, almost at the psychotic level anger. The one that makes you feel like you're crazy kind of anger. Or even confusing anger, the why me anger. The kind that comes out of nowhere and makes you think, why am I reacting like this? This isn't me. I feel completely out of control. Anger when someone else announces their pregnancy or gets pregnant before you. Anger when your friend complains about being tired from her kids. Anger when someone tells you to just relax, it'll happen. Anger when your doctor calls you with news that ruins your entire month. Anger at your body. Anger at the world. Anger at the universe. Anger at God. Anger at how everything feels so unfair. I'll tell you, I felt it too. And trust me, this anger isn't you being delulu, dramatic, or overly emotional, or overreacting. It's what happens when you've been carrying way too much for way too long. So let's talk about where this anger really comes from and what you can do with it instead of snapping, taking it out on your partner, your friends, or your mum. I say mum because they're often the ones to say silly, like triggering things, especially if you're South Asian like me, or Asian, like if you live in Singapore or anywhere in Southeast Asia. And not because your mum wants to intentionally hurt you, but because they don't get it. And they also feel helpless, like watching you go through that. They feel helpless because they don't know what to do and they don't know how to help you and they don't know what to say. So why does anger show up so intensely during infertility? Anger is usually a mask for something that's going on so much deeper. There's grief underneath or unresolved trauma from other times in your life. There's fear underneath. There's constant disappointment underneath. And there's exhaustion underneath. And there's also this sense of feeling betrayed by your body, by time, by life, by the universe, by God, if you're religious or even spiritual. Like you end up blaming something or someone. And maybe you have some resentment towards your partner, especially if you're going through treatment due to male factor infertility, which was in my case, we started treatment because it was driven by male factor infertility. And there's also just the sheer pressure of everything that you are juggling and handling right now. The appointments, the injections, the side effects, the waiting, the conversations that you avoid, the conversations you wish you never had, and the conversations you wish you could have if you were just open and honest. The comparison, the envy, the silence, the pretending, the hibernating. Oh gosh, I honestly could go on with this list. So anger becomes your body's way of saying, this is too much. I need help. I need space and I really need something to change. I'm going to explain a bit about the neuroscience and the science of anger and explain it, in simple terms, because I know not everyone's a science geek like me. But it's really important to understand the science behind it, what's actually happening. So when you go through something like infertility, when you're on this tough, incredibly tough, heartbreaking journey, your nervous system is in survival mode, far too often than it needs to be. So you're in the fight, flight, freeze, fawn mode. Your body is. You might not even be aware of it. And anger is really part of the fight response. Your brain trying to protect you. That's what it's here to do. It's to protect you from danger. And it's trying to keep you safe. So what happens is a part of your brain called the amygdala fires up. Your stress hormones surge. So your stress hormones such as cortisol surge. Your thoughts speed up, they go a million miles an hour, we've all been there. You go straight into defense mode. And I'm not saying this is bad. This isn't bad. This isn't wrong. This is just your brain of trying to help you survive something that is so bloody hard. But the problem is that staying in this state for too long makes you feel irritable, reactive, temperamental, overwhelmed, even guilty for feeling like that, disconnected from yourself. And maybe there's even a bit of self-blame and shame going on there too. It's so complex and there are so many layers. And this is where NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, becomes so powerful. So I'm a trained NLP master practitioner, and I've done, I don't know what it was, 300 to 400 hours of training, classroom-based training to get my qualification, not to shame other people out there that also say they are NLP trained and have done maybe 50 hours online. It really takes time to learn these things, and for me it was really important that I did it in the classroom, because part of NLP is also energy and body language, so it's important to understand how that impacts someone. So NLP helps you understand why you think the way you do, what triggers you and how it triggers you, how your own thoughts trigger different emotions, and how those emotions trigger physical reactions, and how you can change the pattern. You can interrupt the anger before it spirals and get out of control. You can retrain your brain, and you can create new neural pathways that bring you back to calm, clarity, control, and feeling grounded. So you're not stuck with the version of yourself that infertility created. I'm going to tell you a story about one of my clients. I'm not going to say her name, obviously, out of, keeping her confidential, keeping her story confidential, anonymous, but let's just call her Claire. So Claire came to me in a state of just anger and frustrated. Like, she was so frustrated. And and honestly, like, I could feel her anger through I could feel that energy through the screen. Because anger has its own energy. Like, everything around us is energy. The emotions we feel, the things we see, our bodies, it's all energy. So I could literally feel that angry, thick, heavy energy. As she was talking, I could see it in her body language. It was just all encompassing. She just felt angry at the world, at every pregnancy announcement, angry when her husband said it'll happen. Like, he was a little bit more chilled, I would say, about the whole thing, maybe even a little disconnected. She was angry at people asking questions. So she's Singaporean. She was born here. So she was Buddhist. She is Buddhist. So, she is also religious. She was angry that she had to pretend to be okay. And also, that's part of a cultural thing. Like, when you are brought up a certain way. So I'm South Asian. I work with a lot of women in Southeast Asia. And it's a cultural thing. Like, I really resonate with it because I was brought up the same. You're kind of brought up in a way where you're not encouraged to express how you're feeling. You're not encouraged to feel what you're feeling. Like, you're always told to kind of keep going, pretend to be okay, everything's fine, let's brush it under the carpet, nothing here to see, sort of thing, because we're so worried about other people's opinions and the outside world. And so we're just kind of taught to continue, push through, crack on, don't mind how you're feeling, like, it's fine, it'll pass. And you just get tired of it. You get so tired of pretending to be like that. She was angry at her own body. Like, she felt her body was letting her down and just wasn't doing the one thing that she felt like she should be able to do as a woman. And she had angry that she had, no control over it. She was, she would just get fired up at anything, and any little thing would trigger her. So she was just finding herself being triggered all the time. And I think her husband was really taking the brunt of it. She was even, like, sometimes angry at her own doctor for missing things. She said something that really stuck with me, something that I won't forget. And she said, I feel like a horrible, bad person. I don't even recognize myself anymore. And I don't want to be here anymore. And, when she said it, I really sensed sadness in her voice and sadness in the way she expressed it, sadness in her face. Like, she knew what she was doing. Like, when we get to that angry state, that we know what's happening, but the logical part of our brain just doesn't kick in. And it's almost like we're a kid again, where, you have all these emotions that you have no control over, and you're just so overwhelmed. And so you don't know what to do. So when we dug deep into it through, NLP and trying to awaken the subconscious mind, I guess, because sometimes when we're not aware, we don't even know that our subconscious mind is controlling the show. What she realized was quite quickly was that she wasn't angry. She was heartbroken and she was in emotional pain. She was grieving and she was hurt. And anger was easier to feel than all that grief underneath. So we worked on, like, separating the emotion from her own identity. You are feeling anger, but you're not an angry person. And I think that's really important to remember. And those two are very different. So by using a combination of NLP, visualization, nervous system regulation, lots of different tools and techniques that I use, she slowly learned to shift that emotional charge that she was feeling and was able to find ways to anchor herself and ground herself. And, these things don't change overnight. Like, let's be honest, like you don't go to the gym and come back out with a six pack. So it's a bit like the work that you do on your brain. You are literally exercising it. So the more you do stuff, the more you strengthen that part of the brain or those new neural connections and new neural pathways that you're building. So over time, and the more she practiced the tools and techniques that I showed her and different other things that we worked on as well, the anger softened. And not because she was forcing herself to be positive. Like, all the work I do with the incredible women that I work with are just gentle shifts one by one, which then leads to a huge shift and a huge transformation. But that doesn't happen overnight. You don't suddenly go from A to Z. You have to go through all the different steps. There's no shortcut to it. There's no, we're not it's not a race, it's a marathon. So she did the work, and she finally gave herself the permission to feel everything that she'd been suppressing and everything she'd just been like pushing down because she was just scared of feeling. And it's what she was taught, it's how she was brought up. Like, you can't change those things overnight. That system lives in you, in your body and in your brain. Those neural pathways have been created and they're there to stay. Like, you can't change old pathways, but you can obviously build new ones. And so that doesn't mean, we did the work. It doesn't mean that this anger didn't creep in again, because we're human. These emotions are healthy, like we're meant to feel all those things. But what happened that was different is that she found ways to feel it and release it and move through it in a healthier way. And she wasn't caught in that cycle of just being angry all the time, being triggered and angry and triggered, lashing out. Like, she knew how to come back to a place where she felt calm, grounded, in a way that she felt supported and kind for herself. And so what I want to teach you very quickly today is a simple tool to help you move through anger instead of just swallowing it. And this is a very simple, but it's incredibly effective NLP-based tool to help you move through the anger instead of just trying to ignore it, avoid it, or just swallow it. So it's called the name it, feel it, shift it technique. So name it. Say out loud or write down, I'm feeling angry right now. Naming the emotion that you're feeling helps calm the amygdala, so the part of the brain which is evoking these emotions. And then step 2, feel it in your body. So allow yourself to feel it in your body, because emotions aren't just felt in the mind, they're felt in the body. So ask yourself, where is this sitting in my body? Is it my chest, stomach, throat, jaw, shoulders? How does it affect my breathing and my heart rate? How are my muscles feeling? All my muscles in my body. Just check in. And I don't want you to judge it. Just want you to notice it. Then we move on to step 3, shift it. Take a slow breath in for 4 counts. Hold. And then exhale longer than your inhale. So exhale for 6 counts. And put your hand where you feel the anger. And then say to yourself, you can say out loud, depending where you are, of course, or in your mind, in your head. This anger I feel is real, but I am safe. This feeling can move. Then imagine the emotion loosening, softening, or melting, like as if you're slowly unclenching a fist. And I want you to repeat that 3 to 5 times. the breath, that is. So step 3, repeat the inhale for 4 and the hold and then exhale for 6. And imagining the anger, that emotion, loosening with each exhale. Now, this works because you're calming both your nervous system and your subconscious at the same time. And something else I want to share, which you might like to try, is something that I do. So when I start feeling this anger bubbling up, I feel it in my body first. Like literally, I feel it in my gut. Like it feels like it's just about to explode. So what I do is I clench my fist and then I tense my body. And then I slowly release my fist and I slowly release the tension from my body. So I start from my toes, working up to my legs, to my knees, to my thighs, up through the gut and the stomach area, and like to my shoulders, to my jaw, my face. And so I'll go from like clenching fists, tensing body to slowly releasing. And I do this a few times and I really notice that the anger is starting to get less and less. And you get that feeling, that empowered feeling that this anger no longer controls you, because that's basically what happens. The anger controls you and you have no control over it. But we are in control of our emotions. So we need to learn how to control them before they control us and start running the show. I also want to, so I'm big on journaling, and I've not done it my whole life, but I did do it. I did start during my fertility journey. So I used to do a thing called brain dumping, very similar to journaling. Whatever you want to call it, it's exactly the same thing. And I do it before I go to bed. So I just dump down all the things that are in my head to stop them just from swimming around and around and around and like keeping me up all night. So I jot it all down. But as I learned more and more about journaling, I got more intentional as I worked with my own coaches, my own master healers, my own business mentors. I learned different ways to journal, to be more intentional with the questions and the prompts, so that you have, a more focused session. And that's important for me, especially if it's something you don't do every day, and you don't have to. You just do it when you feel like the calling, maybe a couple of times a week or once a week. So I've got some prompts to help you move through the anger instead of brushing it under the carpet or just ignoring it. So the first one is, what is the real emotion underneath my anger today? What am I scared this anger is saying about me? And what do I need right now that I haven't given myself? So let whatever comes up, come up, like no judgment. No one's going to read this. It's, you're not submitting it anyway. It's for you. It's for yourself. It's to help you. So just go with the flow and write what comes out naturally. No overthinking, because, as women, we love to overthink everything. So no overthinking, just do what comes naturally. Do what just comes out of your mouth or your mind out onto the pen. Anger during infertility does not make you a bad person. It does not mean you're bitter and twisted. It does not mean you're losing it, even though you sometimes feel like that. It does not mean that you're a negative person. It means that you're human. It means that you've been carrying more than anyone should ever have to carry. You get to feel it. You get to release it. You get to heal from it. And you get to learn how to navigate it in a way that supports you rather than punishes you. If this episode spoke to you, I want you to know that you're not alone on this. You're not alone in this journey. And you don't have to keep fighting these emotions by yourself. There is another way. I'm here to support you. If you're ready for the support, the guidance, or a space to breathe again, Take care of yourself, be kind, be gentle, and please remember, you are incredible. Always. If you found today's conversation helpful, I'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps others to find the safe space, and I'm so grateful for that. And if you're ready to take the next step in your fertility journey, get in touch with me. I'm here to help, guide, and support you through this process. So whether you need help shifting your mindset or just someone to listen, I'm with you every step of the way. I want you to remember that your fertility journey is uniquely yours, and that is enough. Take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, be gentle, and trust that you are incredible. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for, and every step you take is a step forward towards your healing and towards your growth. Sending you love, strength, and all the support you need. Until next time.